The following podcast is a W2M Network original production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.
What time is it?
Ladies and gentlemen, the Undisputed Era has arrived.
You have the 25 days of Christmas. Impact's going to have the 25 days of releases.
I send it you to deletion! Yeah!
It's hashtag Alpha versus Omega.
Let's just say hashtag aroused.
No, you're going to step in that ring and you're going to be looking at me eye to eye and you're going to realize you ain't got a chance.
Thank God we don't have to talk about it anymore because she got that cancer out of there.
Sean stole my answer. I'm just glad we don't have to talk about this anymore.
And that's not an insult. That is just a fact of life.
Talk to me what it was like to get one more stunner and beer bath on Vince McMahon.
Well, Vince McMahon went out there and tried to claim that he didn't need anybody's help. Hell, he rode Stone Cold's ass the whole Attitude Era. I was a big part of what happened here, and he knows that, and that's the bottom line. For him to go out there and accept some plaque from Shane and Stephanie was complete BS. Stone Cold went out there, crashed his little party, rang it up with a couple of stunners, and that's the bottom line.
Thank you very much for your time, Stone Cold.
That's all you got to say to me is ask me one question, I give you one answer, then you're going to shake my hand. You flew me all the way out here. Now you're going to bring me backstage and treat me like a jabroni.
Well, I mean...
Did you not do any more prep than that? You got one question. Okay, what's your name?
Mike.
Okay, Mike, you're going to ask Stone Cold a couple of questions, and you just did one question. Do you know who you're talking to? My name is Stone Cold Steve Austin. I actually drew money. I actually was the world heavyweight champion. I won 3 Royal Rumbles, and you bring me all the way out here to the East Coast, to Brooklyn, and you got one sorry-ass question for me. You're a chump. You need to go back to your house, do your homework, because next time when Stone Cold Steve Austin shows up, I want a proper interview, proper camera time, proper mic time, hell, proper interview personnel. You got no business interviewing something like me, son. You're way out of your league. Go back and do your homework. I'm sure everybody back home is proud of you, but you're just a piece of trash in my eyes. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Thank you. It's been wonderful talking to you. That's BS. I hated talking to the sorry SOB. And that's the bottom line because I said so.
Ladies and gentlemen, wrestling to the max.
And your hosts, Gary Vaughan, Sean Garmer, and Paul Leazar.
Hello and welcome to another great episode of Wrestling to the Max. This is episode 283, part 1. And of course, we are brought to you by W2Mnet.com, the place where you go get all your great wrestling shows and podcasts and a lot more. And hey, don't forget to go hit that subscribe button at Wrestling to the Max or the W2M Network. And hey, make sure you also give us some big love on YouTube where we can get you a lot of our great content when it comes to the W2M Network. Once you hit that subscribe button, you do us a big favor. But not only that, you'll get an email or whatever comes your way to let you know when new episodes come up. And of course, all the great content will be followed. And hey, also make sure you go and do us a favor and give some big love to our friends over at 4womanmania.com and lastwordonprowrestling.com. Both have great wrestling articles on each of those sites, and they have other great content to go check them out. They support us. Let's go support them. I, of course, am your host, Gary Vaughan, and along with me tonight is Mr. Paul Leazar.
Heyo.
And Mr. Sean Garmer.
What's up, everybody?
And guys, I am so glad we were able to be on this show tonight. If anyone wonders what happened to us on Thursday, well, hopefully you'll listen to the NXT review, because I did tell you kind of what was going down. But what had happened was, like, don't you like that when people say that? What had happened was, and this is the sad truth, is all three of us were sick. And it's the wildest coincidence that I've ever heard of in my life. But I get a Paul texts me and Sean and says, "Hey guys, I'm really sick. I think I got the flu. Could you guys cover?" And then Sean's texting at the same time, "Guys, I've got the worst cough in history. I don't know if I could do a show." And then I was going to text and say, "Good God, how did I get your symptoms?" So and Sean's in Florida. Paul lives in the same city as I do, but we just don't cross each other's paths very often. And so we have not been around each other. There's been no other kind of things going on. So it's surprising, but yes, we've all gotten sick. This great epidemic across North America has been wild. It's been crazy, but it's hitting everybody. And we got hit all at the same time. So we apologize. We did not give you an episode, part 2 of last week. We really wanted to. We tried. I gutted my way through NXT. And I tried my best because I wanted at least one show that I needed that NXT show to be there. Thank you to Brandon Bisco being for covering for Paul. I did my best, and I got through it. But after that, went to bed with the shakes. So it shows you how bad I was feeling that night. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit you with a double dose. And we should have done this before this. I should have gave you the Superstar of the Week tonight for last week, but we'll just delay it. We'll put it off, and we'll give you last week's and this week's on Thursday. We'll give you a little bit of stuff for Impact, a double dose maybe of Impact, or half a dose of Impact, since last week's Impact was not really huge or anything. So we'll be covering a lot more of that on the next episode, so you're not going to miss out on it. We're going to give you all that content. We just, for those reasons, that's why we didn't have them. And we still have a lot of cool stuff to talk about tonight, and lots of great wrestling news to come your way. We didn't get some things done on Thursday, so we'll do those tonight when it comes to news. And, of course, we're talking Ring of Honor as well. We're not going to miss out on that. That's going to be really fun for us to talk about, too. So, once again, I mean, I know, Paul, you were really sick, man. How are you feeling now?
You know, it's still... I at least sound much better, but I mean, it's still cold, so
yeah,
not great there. But yeah, I've been able to actually get out of bed and do stuff since Sunday, which is very nice. So, you know, it's just the temperature changes here in Dallas have been absolutely insane over the past week. So I'm pretty sure that's what did me in.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. And the thing is it has been such a crazy shift going from below 32 and, you know, hitting, you know, really low numbers to all of a sudden out of nowhere, hey, it's 70 degrees. Enjoy it. And then let's fall back down to earth at 34 degrees.
Right back to
boy, I'm telling you. And when you have those kind of spikes and lows and all those in weather, the weather itself gets a little freaky. I swear, as the cold front came in on Sunday night, I was sitting in the living room, and I just saw this flash of light, and it was lightning that I don't think I've ever seen before flash through my window. I thought the paparazzi was outside. I said, they got the wrong house. I'm not the Miz. But no, it was the craziest thing. So... the weather here is killing us, but Sean, weather is affecting you in Miami too.
Yeah, we didn't get, you know, the crazy cold weather that you guys get, but I still have the cough. And then woke up to Anaya being sick and Mama being sick. And so... it's when we got all the way down to like 35, which like never happens here. If we get down to like 50, everybody's rejoicing you got cold weather. Okay, so when you get down to like almost about to be freezing temperature here, think about it when it goes from 37 for like a couple of days to like 73 all of a sudden. Yeah, that's gonna mess with your immune system just like it did these guys. And that's what happened. Like all of a sudden, I'm getting chills and going to bed and sweating out a fever and getting this cough. And yeah, we had several other people on the site that had the same thing too, not just us. So, man, it's been going around, like Gary said.
Yeah, it really has. But, at least all three of us are together, and at least we are closer to being better. I think maybe I am the most healthiest right now because you guys just kind of point out you're not all the way there. I think I'm about 90% there. It just affects all of us. My daughter's been sick as well, and luckily my wife hasn't gotten sick, which I feel terrible as she did, because when you're pregnant, you can't take anything. Mm-hmm. So she thought I had the flu, so she stayed away from me like I was the plague. So very awkward when your wife walks way, way away from you. Well, actually, that happens more often than not. Maybe I should. Very weird. Very weird. So anyway.
I'm sorry, Gary.
No personal issues on the show. I'm sorry, guys. I did it again. But really, let's talk about wrestling really quickly here. Let's mention this. Let's let people know that we did the Raw 25 talk already. Me and Paul usually do Raw every week, the review show. Well, Sean was able to join us, and so that was a lot of fun. We got it out there for you guys, so that's the reason I didn't mention it as it being a part of this show. That is going to be something that you get a chance to have a full show about us talking Monday Night Raw, and it's a really fun listen, so please go check that out. That's the only reason I'm not referring to anything from Raw 25 right now. Just want to let you guys know it's a lot of fun. So please go check that out. But yeah, we have lots of other stuff to talk about tonight. So why don't we go ahead and jump into some quick hits, guys?
It's time for wrestling news. Quick hits.
Take it away, Gary.
All right, guys. Well, let's start off by talking about a few controversial things first, right? I mean, that's the way you kind of have to shake things out at times. And we are going to start out by talking about something that happened last weekend, which was a SmackDown star, Jey Uso, got pulled over in Texas. And he not only just got pulled over, he got arrested, for a DWI in Hidalgo, Texas. So this, is something interesting for the fact that, it's, driving while under the influence, not under the influence, apparently. I just wonder what was really going on here. Of course, we don't have a lot of details on this, but, I mean, this is something that we have, going on, Paul. I don't know, the full scale of everything, but, Texas is not a place you want to do these type of things.
Very true. WWE has also not really released any statement about it or anything like that other than... I guess acknowledging it. So there's been no suspension or anything like that, but, definitely not a place you want to get caught DWIing for sure. Just Texas, we get pretty harsh on those kind of punishments. So, it'd be interesting to see what kind of effect this is going to have on those guys, especially going into the Rumble. They got the tag title match. Who knows?
I think they did pull Jay from some kind of that Universal Studios vacation thing, but that's it right now because he was on Raw, and I think so far because he's not being charged, they're gonna just keep it quiet as far as if they're gonna do anything.
Yeah, I can't remember. We were watching Raw. Did they have any alcoholic beverages on the table with the AP? I just can't remember. I was wondering if they pulled that from the segment because of Jay, So I don't know. But yeah, Jey Uso. I just thinking to myself, why? And not only that, this may not be alcohol. I mean, he did a breathalyzer and all that stuff. I think from what I remember hearing, but doesn't mean that's the substance he was on. So I'm just throwing that out there. It could be something else. But until we get more information, probably should leave that alone. We just, wanted to make sure we make note of it just in case down the line here we have to talk more about Jay, and they'll be like, well, you never talked about it. So we did. Let's talk about something else that's kind of been controversial. Roman Reigns and this steroid controversy. Yeah, I know. Lots of people were talking about it last week. You were probably wanting us to talk a little bit about it. Well, here we are. And the good thing is we kind of got a chance to stay away from so much more of the rumor mill, and we're getting a little bit more details than we would have had if we would have talked about this Thursday night. And really, this whole steroid controversy is, of course, because there's a steroid dealer by the name of Richard Rodriguez. And he threw out the name of several different people, Mark Wahlberg being a big celebrity, Roman Reigns being one of the big names. But right now, the DEA is saying that they are not looking into Roman Reigns. He is not one of the people they are investigating. So that is very, very good news for Roman Reigns, especially for the fact that he was suspended back in 2016 for a violation based on steroid taking. So at least this is a better light, Sean, for Roman, because otherwise it'd been scary if he was being investigated by the DEA.
Yeah, anytime the DEA comes knocking around, that's...
Hello?
I guess we missed on Sean. Go ahead, Paul. You in and we'll have Sean back. He may have had a coughing problem.
That's very true. That's like, oh god, I hope we didn't lose connection. Yeah. So this is kind of a big deal that thankfully has being sort of stepped aside here, since the DEA is mostly interested in going after people who are trafficking, hoarding it or trafficking it or whatever like that. So. You've also had Roman, and basically anybody that Richard named has come out and said, no, we don't know this guy, we've never done steroids, blah, blah, blah. So, whether it's cover up or not, like, I've been reading a lot of internet people like, oh my god, Vince is paying people off. It's probably not. It's just DA is only interested in catching the guys with the stuff, not really the people who bought it.
See, this is what pisses me off, Paul, is for the fact that I didn't get a chance to make that joke. Because I was going to come on the podcast and I was going to say, Vince is doing it again. He got a guy off murder. He can get a guy off the steroid. So, that's terrible. I know. I had to make the joke, though. I wanted to make that whole, connection, but I just didn't get a chance to do it. But you're right. I mean, this is kind of interesting for the fact that, really it's about hearsay. They're going off, and this is, of course, not the DEA. This is basically all the websites and all the press are all going off of what the guy said, right. Not what is really true, hardcore evidence or fact. Mm-hmm. And so for the DEA to come out without doing even more investigating and saying Roman's not even one of the guys we're really even looking at, that means they don't even believe this guy. That means they've looked into this enough that they don't even have any connections at this point for Roman to be mentioned. So, I look at this and say this has been a lot of hooey for no reason. And, now that Sean, you're back here with us, this is just, it's one of those things, people like to point fingers. They like to kind of throw big names out there so they can just go ahead and bury someone else with them.
Yeah. That kind of happens, right, in a lot of these things. Sometimes they wind up being true. We had that with the A-Rod thing where he started naming people to try to get, a monkey off his back and stuff. Every time there's these big deals, they don't want to be the person or the sole person that's talked about. They want to involve other people so that it's not all on them, and maybe you'll just forget about it, and one of the other guys will be a bigger story or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's so very true. And, Rodriguez is definitely someone who is obviously a little bit of a shady person. And there's been some other records and some other things that have come to light that shows that this guy is not exactly on the up and up. So if you're taking his word for it, I just don't know that you're really looking into someone who's credible. So hopefully, I'm not saying that I'm a giant Roman Reigns fan or anything, but when the guy didn't do it or when it appears that he didn't do it, let's cut him some slack, right? As much as some of those Roman haters out there want to get him fired or get him suspended, you got to be fair. I like I said, I'm not a Roman fan, but I got to be fair with the guy. This is his family and his life also. In perspective, this is not just about a wrestling character being taken off TV. This is about someone who has a family and who has, future aspirations, I'm sure, outside of the ring, mm-hmm. who could get all taken away based on a case like this, right? So, got to have some compassion for the guy, and I'm so glad that if this is the case, he's not involved, that his name is not getting slung through the mud. So let's talk about someone who may be getting slung through the mud. We don't know for sure, but this is a really big controversial situation, and I think it speaks even more now that this guy has been suspended from WWE, and that is, of course, Enzo Amore. He apparently has been named in a case of rape, and that is not something you want to be named in. But since it is something, it's a situation that is not looking great at the moment for him. This actually took place in October. So this is something that they've been looking into. This is something that's been out there. But the police are investigating it, and WWE definitely wants to stay way from people who are involved in such matters. So they went ahead and suspended Enzo until they get more information. But if it does come to light that he is going to be guilty or that it appears that he has some part in it, it looks like the zero tolerance policy will be in effect with WWE, and he will probably be fired immediately. So, Paul, I mean, I could expect nothing less.
Yeah, there's a ton of details out there floating around on, I think Fightful.com broke a whole lot of stuff. As far as what went on between Twitter dialogues and conversations with the victim and all that, and the police have been investigating since October. So we may get the results of their investigation sometime in the pretty near future. So we might be talking about this again very quickly. But yeah, I mean, if he's indicted in sort of any way as having a role or actually he did the whole thing or whatever. He's gone, so, and, this is just sort of the political climate today like this, like just being named already can do some damage to you. So, it'll be interesting, even if, this is all they turn out to, it's just somebody blowing smoke or whatever, then, it'll be interesting just to see what happens from Enzo from that perspective. But, I don't know. As far as I could tell, it's a lot of he said, she said stuff right now. So if the police have something more solid to it, then good on them. But I mean, this is just not right in any sense of the word. Like awful stuff.
Look, if Enzo really did this, he deserves all the crap he's gotten for everything in WWE. And that's just minimal. I mean, dude deserves to go to jail or something like this if it really happened, because that's gross. Mm-hmm. Like, that's just nasty. Like, you just don't do that. I mean, you don't, like, get somebody on drugs and on weed and drunk and all that stuff and then decide, I'm just going to rape. Like, what the hell, dude? Mm-hmm. Like, I get it that drugs are involved on your end too, and whatever maybe, but that's never excusable at all. It's just now look. This also sounds very shady because she has a YouTube channel where the top thing on her YouTube channel is I faked the pregnancy. Yeah. So, I mean, that doesn't really scream like, oh, I'm such a trustworthy person. Yeah. So, again, like the people that she's claiming are witnesses to it are saying that they're ready to speak out about it and all that kind of stuff. So I think this is one of those that I don't think it's like the Elgin one where it's going to point one way and definitively one way. I think this might be one of those where it sticks in the in-between for a while until somebody really puts it in a certain direction. So, and look, WWE has to do this right now, right? Not just for the zero tolerance, but also because of what's going on right now in Hollywood. And you keep having people get named in these things. James Franco and Aziz Ansari. It's going to keep happening. Yep. And you cannot be that one that continues to let somebody, whether they're a champion or not, or a big figure or not, be prominent on one of your shows, and then it turns out that it's all true, and wow, you just let a rapist be on your TV for 6 months. Like, how awful does that look on WWE? I mean, look, let's hope it's not true, just because that's awful to think about that, he would do that, but, or, look, it's not out of the question that she's just basically completely lying too. I mean, that's happened many times, or exaggerated something than it wasn't. So, again, I don't want to cast any blame on Enzo until we find out some kind of concrete facts. But the fact that the police are investigating this and they're awaiting things and all that stuff, that doesn't sound good.
No, it doesn't. And, I look at this as being a situation for Enzo as scary. And why I say that is because, well, not only are you in, a little bit of a deep issue with the police, but you're also in deep with social media. You're in deep with public opinion. And, of course, the company you work for does not like negative news because they are a public traded company. And so that's a situation where you may not have to do a lot. You may just be rumored to do a lot. And they just say, you know what we really honestly could do without him. Mm-hmm. And they move on. And really, where does Enzo go from there? I mean, sure, he can have some options, but Impact Wrestling, they may be interested because of the WWE being as a part of his resume. Some other places, but really far few in between are really going to be looking for Enzo Amore. Let's just be honest. So this is not a good thing for him. And not only that, we've seen with Michael Elgin, it has just become such a sad story for the fact of, once a guy that a lot of people looked up to or wanted to see wrestle has all of a sudden just kind of fallen by the wayside because of public opinion and the things that have gone on with him. So we're not casting any kind of, accusations. We're not saying Enzo did anything. I really have no idea. I'm just going by what we're reading on the newswire, some of the information we followed up on. But yeah, we just have to say that. That's all we can do. So just know that this is going on and that we're going to follow it closely. But boy, it seems like one thing after another with Enzo. He just can't catch a break.
I just don't know if even Impact, the crap that they are going to get for having him work on a place that has national TV may be to the point where they can't. We got to remember how online Impact is. Even more than WWE, Impact relies on people, like us that are watching, that are very into social media, that are watching and all that stuff. I don't know how many casual fans they really have, but it's not a huge number. And those online fans could be very, very vocal to the point where it's going to affect them if they try to hire him. If this all goes down and Enzo is at fault for this. But yeah, Enzo may just have to go find another line of work or just work indies.
All right, good luck trying to find it. This serious felony stuff, if he gets indicted and charged and everything. So, good luck finding work anywhere after that.
Yeah, it's going to be, a rough road ahead for him if things don't work out his way for sure. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about somebody that looks like it's a brighter road ahead, and that's EC3. Yeah, that's right. We're talking Ethan Carter III. He looks like he is going to be a definite for WWE. Looks like it's a good deal. Deal's done. And, that could mean he hits Royal Rumble. That also could mean some other things, NXT, but Rumble seems like it's one of the favorites out there for people that, to consider him being a part of. Of course, we've seen Bobby Lashley as being another person that's been released by Impact that could make their presence known, but that's looking more not so, fact or concrete. But for EC3, Paul, looking at this whole thing, it looks like it's something that we can be excited about at least.
Yeah, I don't know if the Rumble is necessarily in his future. I would think a trip to NXT and trying to figure out a new gimmick is in store. But if they're just going to bring him straight up as EC3 or a name change variant as basically a entitled rich kid, then we know that has legs. But we'll just have to sort of, I guess, wait and see. Lashley is a little bit more interesting, just because people think he could end up in the Royal Rumble too, and apparently they would have to seek out Impact Wrestling's permission since he's still under contract with them until February for him to do so. So, lots of interesting stuff to keep your eye on, especially going into the Royal Rumble this Sunday as far as Impact releases go.
Yeah, EC3, you might want to start, getting that limo ready, Paul.
I can't ride in the limo with him right now. I mean, it's just not happening. I'm not getting this guy second out of the Royal Rumble.
Like, no,
that's yeah. I mean,
that's not what close personal friends do to each other.
So he effectively. I'm kidding.
No, I mean he's going to be getting he's going to be putting WWE into some trouble. Watch out, Rumble. EC3 is going to go out there and make his mark. I don't know that he's going to get the AJ Styles pop or whatever. That's why I almost think it may be better to bring him back into NXT first. But whatever they think works, I'm just going to be happy to see him back. And yeah, I feel like he's going to be headed there whether he's there in the Rumble or not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, the reason why I really want EC3 to be a part of the Rumble is just to see what kind of music they bring him out to. But not only that, I mean, this is Philadelphia we're talking about, so you're going to have the crowd definitely be involved. At least you would hope so, and really be into it. And of course, they'll know who EC3 is, most likely, because that's definitely one of the smarkiest crowds. So I really, really hope it works out that way for me personally. But hey, if he goes to NXT, I'm completely happy. I have no problems with it. I've said it, when me and Brandon were kind of talking about the whole Moss and now I can't think of his name. Sabatelli, thank you. Moss and Sabatelli. I mean, I would love EC3 to come in and take, the reins and make his own little faction there, right? I would love it. So, who knows? But Lashley, like you guys said, be fun too to see.
That'll be Main Event Mafia 3.
Oh boy.
Oh boy, yeah. Oof. That's scary. But yeah, I mean, I'm really glad for those guys. I'm really excited to see what they can do. And of course, this is the most fun thing about Royal Rumble, because you just never know what's really going to take place and who's going to be there and all these rumors. It just makes it so exciting. So I just had to throw that out there. Let's also talk about something else that's kind of interesting, like something that really kind of bums us out, though. Samoa Joe will not be a part of the Rumble. That's a fact. In fact, he won't be back until March. Oof, that sucks, Sean.
Yeah, it does suck. I mean, he would have been a great guy to have in the Rumble. Probably could have gone far, or at least had a significant moment in there. So, it really sucks to hear that he's not going to be able to be in it all. So,
yeah, that foot injury was some serious business. It's a real. I was really looking forward to that Cena interaction that they had sort of started hyping up, but that's since been transferred over to Elias. So I mean, just get good soon, Joe. We need you back, quick, fast, in a hurry.
Yes. Oh God, man, just missing him is gonna be.
It's gonna be rough. It's gonna be rough going forward.
It's gonna be torture.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hopefully he does get better soon. And, he's not the only guy dealing with these injuries. We also have Kevin Owens, who's dealing with a back injury. And he's even missing house shows because of it. So he's not going to miss the time that Joe's missing. But, man, you just, you know he's not doing as good as you want him to.
Stuff's sort of piling up on him, too. Jason Jordan still is off house shows as well, dealing with whatever unnamed injury he has. Kevin Owens is obviously still a go for the Rumble and all that. He's just got some back injury that's nagging on him, so they give him a little bit of time off.
Yeah, so hopefully that works out for him, and does get him in better shape, One of the guys that I love so much, and I'm so excited about talking about this guy, Pete Dunne, he has been pulled from a show in the UK. Why? Well, it's not because he's injured. it's because it looks like he is going to be doing something else, possibly. Speculation is that he is going to be gone from everything because he is looking to be a part of the pre-show of the Philadelphia Takeover show. That's a fun special. Really looking forward to that. Can't wait to see it. If he is a part of that, that's great. There's also, some speculation that he could even be in that Royal Rumble we're talking about. What do you think about that, Sean?
Sorry, had to try to not have a freaking fit on the air here. What are we talking about?
Oh, it's okay. I was just talking about Pete Dunne. Possibly, he got pulled from the UK show, so it looks like he could be a Takeover or the Rumble.
I mean, either one that he's in would be pretty awesome just to see him. But I think having a spot in the Rumble kind of seems appropriate for him. The crowd will definitely know who he is over there in Philly. And look, he's the bruiserweight. He gets to beat up on some people. Maybe tease a match at WrestleMania would be cool.
Just put Pete Dunne on everything. Put him on TakeOver. Put him on the stuff before TakeOver. Put him in the Royal Rumble match. Put him on Raw. Put him on SmackDown. Just give me Pete Dunne. That's all I want. I'm a simple man. I see Pete Dunne, I scream my head off.
Yeah. I second that motion. Well, let's just make it happen now. Oh, boy. I mean, I'm right there with you. I mean, this guy is amazing. He's so much fun to watch. And I think, whatever they do with him, it's going to work. I really feel that way. I feel that strongly about his ability, about his, just appearance and charisma and everything that he does. It's just so much fun. And, this guy is one of those people that I don't really worry about too much because I know he's going to succeed. So let's see what they do. But that's speculation. Once again, not fact. That's just some of the things we've been hearing. And either way, it looks good from my point of my perspective. Jeff Cobb is a guy that we'll be talking about next here. He's going to be looking to be doing some other things going forward. There's some talk recently that he may be leaving Lucha Underground because, there's been a lot of talks about many different stars from that promotion heading off and doing other things. But he, has been in the rumors of joining Impact Wrestling or doing something that he really likes to do, and that's stay with New Japan. So those talks are going around, Paul. What do you think this leads to?
This is really interesting, actually, because one, Cobb is going to be on Season 4 of Lucha Underground, but there might be himself and a lot of other characters coming back just to simply be written off on screen this season, since a lot of people still seem to want out of their deals with that show. And Impact Wrestling is sort of an interesting beast, just because, I certainly do think he would do well there, just because he's just so talented, but I really feel like New Japan is the place he should be. The dude is just, he worked out so well over there in the tag league, and I feel like he could carve himself a very nice place in Japan if that's what he wants to do.
Yeah, I'd definitely say hope to see him in New Japan, for the reasons Paul said. I mean, obviously he has a great character in Lucha Underground, and he does seem to have that written off. I mean, and if he stays there too, it's not the worst thing, but you certainly don't want to see him in Impact.
Jeff Cobb definitely, works well in Lucha Underground and really for everywhere he's been a part of. And I really, think it's kind of sucky, because I think Lucha Underground is a promotion that I love to watch and I love to follow. And to see them lose him and a lot of these other people, it really kind of saddens me. But, I mean, New Japan just seems like the most comfortable he is, right? He seems like he's in his element. He loves it. He seems to be doing what he really likes to do there. So if that's the case, I want him to do what he wants to do. And, hey, good for him, right? I mean, he gets that option to choose. Mm-hmm. Not everybody gets those options. Most people have to just take what they get, and this guy can definitely choose. So whatever he does, I'm sure it's going to be great. Talking about New Japan, though, apparently they had been having some talks with Bill Goldberg, and they were really wanting to get him signed on for a big New Japan show before he got the WWE Hall of Fame call from WWE. But that did not happen. They did not ink a deal with him, and the WWE got him to be a part of their Hall of Fame this year. So those thoughts and those things are going to have to wait. But, I mean, they were looking into it, and Sean, I mean, that says something. That means that, you know, they had some plans in mind. What do you think is going on there?
Well, I mean, you know, trying to use the WWE name to get some attention, right? They're trying to continue to grow, make inwards here in the United States, and very much like Jericho, just see if it could work out for them. I feel like, though Jericho works better, I don't know, Goldberg would seem like a total just, okay, we're bringing him over for his name. I just don't know if he would work necessarily with New Japan.
Yeah, to me, the Goldberg deal sounded like something that they maybe wanted to bring him in for the U.S. show or something like that to kind of help secure the seats, even though I really don't think they would need it, but that's sort of where my mind went. I don't know if I have a ton of interest in there either. New Japan already has a lot of Gaijins, and a lot of them that could go at a much higher level than Goldberg can at this time, so it would definitely just be for name value to see what he would draw over there, as well as maybe trying to use him as sort of a star to push over here for a short time or something like that, just to fill seats. So, yeah, I mean, that's basically where I was. But just the thought of them approaching Bill Goldberg in 2018 is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
You know, I just, you know, was a little taken aback, to be honest with you, because I really didn't think that name would kind of crop up based on some of the other talent that maybe is out there that they could go get. But, you know, hey, you know, you're right. I mean, Bill Goldberg, it is a name. It's somebody that, you know, people will come and travel to see. So I don't blame him. You know, definitely, especially if you're using him in the U.S., not a bad idea, at least. Mm-hmm. So. You know, things are going on here in the world of wrestling, and there's a lot of different things changing around. And what we've seen lately is different people moving places, and Conan is definitely one of those guys. We've seen him, you know, go from Lucha Underground to Impact Wrestling to the Crash promotion and stick around, and then, you know, now he's with Era Lucha. So that's a guy that's been moving around. But apparently, since he had left the Crash, the Impact Wrestling and them are no longer going to be partner up anymore. So, I don't know if this is a huge deal or anything, but I mean, you know, Impact Wrestling has been enjoying having those connections. So losing the Crash, I'm sure, is kind of a sad thing for them.
You know, for me, one of the more interesting deals with Impact right now was sort of all the relationships that they established under the GFW umbrella and all that, and sort of how that played out on TV was kind of interesting because you got to see, you know, their guys work in different matches all across the world, and it sort of made them feel like bigger superstars, you know, and that sort of vein. So I think losing one of those relationships kind of sucks, but, you know, I mean, they're still working with AAA and all that, so it's not like it's a huge loss or anything, but it was certainly an interesting little deal that they had going there for a little bit.
Yeah, Paul brings up that point. I think that's important here is that I think one of the other ones would have been a much bigger loss for them than, say, Crash. And Crash has kind of been up and down as it is. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I think they'll be fine.
Yeah. It's just, you know, once again, it's, you know, maybe not be a major thing, but it is kind of interesting that, you know, now that you don't have the GFW mark or, you know, Conan, people like that connected that, you know, have some of those relationships, you may see some of these things kind of peter out. But, I mean, I'm sure they'll do some other things, and it is going to be, you know, a whole different world and Impact once we get further away from what they once were, right? Because they're changing. So many different people, so many wrestling talent is going to be leaving and coming and going and all that. So, Let's talk about someone else who will be leaving Impact Wrestling, and that is Hanaya the Huntress. Yeah, no, it seems like she just got there, right? Well, she did. But she got fired over the last set of tapings, and that is because she refused to do a job. Yeah, that's right. She refused to lose to Su Yung in 90 seconds. She said, not doing that. So they said, well, thanks for coming, but you can go home. So she claims that it was a mutual thing, that they just kind of said, well, we appreciate each other, but we're going to move on. But I have a feeling it really wasn't that mutual. But, who's to say, Paul?
I have a feeling it wasn't very mutual either. And, it's not like she doesn't have a lot of other places she can go work. That maybe wouldn't present her a better opportunity, like maybe going back to Ring of Honor, where she actually might be higher up the card if that's what she sort of wants to do. But I don't know if this is the sort of first outbreak of her being difficult to work with either. So I don't know. I really like her. I think she's a great talent. So I hope Hanaya finds her feet somewhere.
Yeah, this kind of sounds like, when anybody says, oh, they fire you? No, I quit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, you guys said it. It's not like Impact's losing anything really here.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And what's funny? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Paul, but I mean, I think she just literally made her debut on this last episode, technically.
I believe you are correct.
So, yeah, I watch Impact, and then I look on the news feed, and she's fired, and she just debuted to beat up Rosemary. What? So, yeah, very weird timing that happened, but, I mean, we know Impact films their stuff super early, and just or a lot of them, so that's the kind of price you pay for doing that. They'll probably be dealing with another issue too, because Sienna apparently was hospitalized in those set of tapings recently, and the reason is because she had some problems with blood clots in the lungs, and they're possibly due to a broken rib or maybe even just a collapsed lung, but still. That sounds bad. That sounds like that is not any fun at all, Sean. I mean, oof.
That sounds awful.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry for her that she's having to go through that. That is no fun at all, and hopefully she gets better.
She's going to be out of action for a little bit, so I don't know if it's going to affect Impact tapings or anything like that, but as far as indie dates go, she won't be able to perform at any of them, even though she said she will still make appearances, so...
Yeah. At least she can do that, and, you just feel bad because, she may have had some good things coming her way, who knows, but anytime you miss, an extended period of time, you're missing out on a lot, and you're probably missing out on a lot of money, so that's just really, really bad deal for her.
Yeah, I mean, just blood clots in your lungs just doesn't sound productive to living.
Oh,
it just sounds awful.
Yeah. Just a fight to breathe. I mean, you always hear, you can break my arm, break anything, but let me breathe. Mm-hmm. And when you have those kind of conditions and you can't breathe, oof, that's suffering.
Yeah.
So. Let's talk about Silas Young. Why? Well, yeah, because I like to do it. But not only that, he's been in our mouths a lot lately. We've been talking about the fact that he hasn't had a deal with Ring of Honor, that they let that expire. But now we have the, interesting thing that he got interviewed, and recently that, he is going to be absolutely signing with Ring of Honor. So I'm glad about that, Paul.
Yeah, me too. Silas Young and Ring of Honor is just a great fit right now, and Silas, I just really brings something different to the table that you can appreciate within the confines of that promotion. So super happy for that. Apparently he just likes yanking the internet's chain, which, who doesn't?
A lot of people do. Yeah, I think that's the best place for him. I'm glad he's staying there.
Yeah, I am too. So thank you, CBS Sports, for getting that interview and finding out that information, because I've been begging and hoping to find out. So Ring of Honor also announced today that they have got something else kind of cool happening. They'll have Kota Ibushi along with him when they have that big Supercard of Honor show. So that is excellent news. I'm really looking forward to that. I mean, Sean, that looks like, just with his name on that card, a lot better.
Well, of course. Anytime you can add Kota Ibushi to the list of people appearing, it already makes it a great, even better show than it was. So, going to be awesome to see who he's facing.
Yeah, I mean, they've already announced Omega and Tanahashi on this show as well. Now with Ibushi, if you're not throwing your money at this show, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah, really. I mean, I've already took my shirt off, and I'm just talking about it. So, but yeah, it's going to be really fun to watch that show, because you've got some great New Japan talent joining forces with Ring of Honor, and I'm sure there's some other nice things that'll be taking place between now and then. So, Supercard of Honor, it's looking good.
I have this anime that I watch called Food Wars, that whenever the main guy that's judging the food goes bare-chested, it means he loved the food. So when Gary takes his shirt off, you know that he's loving what we're talking about.
Yes. Yes. So now people are getting those visuals, and they're terrified. But that's okay. But yeah, there you go, guys. That is quick hits for this episode. And of course, we'll give you some more of the quick hits this coming up next show. But now we are going to move on in our show, and we are going to be talking Ring of Honor right after this.
All right, Ring of Honor. Still in Philadelphia here, and we open with some footage that took place at the end of last show with the Kingdom attacking Dalton Castle and the boys after it went off the air. And then we get a promo from Taven saying that he's basically just going to start taking everything he believes he deserves, since Ring of Honor is not going to put him in a position to get these sort of things like Dalton Castle has gotten throughout his career with the company. So I enjoyed that promo. I thought it was very awesome. Taven, all kinds of fired up. I mean, maybe one of the more underrated people in Ring of Honor right now.
Oh, I totally agree. And, when you look at him, you really think to yourself, man, he's just got that charisma. He makes everything feel important that he talks about or is involved in. So, good job on him. I'm right there with you. I think that promo was great.
Absolutely. Excuse me. Ring of Honor World Tag Team titles are up for grabs next, as the Dogs, for some reason, because for the life of me, Gary, I couldn't think what they have done to earn a title shot, but they're getting it against the Guns here. And, of course, the Motor City Machine Guns retain after their little cradle driver thing, which I don't believe has a name yet, but I actually enjoyed this. I thought this was one of their more entertaining matches that they've had with another team, and it kind of gets a little dull down the stretch, just because okay, here it comes, the Guns are about to win, but it's fun for what it is.
Yeah, you say, what do they do to deserve this? Mm-hmm. It's called pity. It's like, you guys are halfway funny. You kind of do what you're trying to get across. Let's go ahead and do something for you, kids. I don't know. I think to myself those same things, and then I look at this match and say, well, you know what? The Guns definitely helped those guys, and those guys did put some work into it. They really felt like that they were motivated. I just don't know. You're probably right. I didn't get super into it. I thought it was a decent match. But, I was never really super excited about it. And when the Guns won, I was not really saying anything, but yeah, that should have happened.
Right. And, of course, during the post-match, too, you have the Briscoes come down and claim that the championships are basically their property, and there's not a thing the Motor City Machine Guns can do to stop them from recovering their property. So, Briscoes continuing to make the title challenges. And then we cut backstage to SoCal Uncensored approaching Shane Taylor and paying him off to sort of watch out for Bullet Club members when they go down to the ring. So keeping the Shane Taylor gimmick alive here, I really like this. I feel like they're doing one of the better jobs I've seen with a hitman sort of character. And Shane, of course, is quick to let him know that if the check bounces, he's going to be paying him a visit.
Yeah, he really was, right? And I don't want to, knock Tyrus, but I just, at times I felt Tyrus on Impact Wrestling kind of got this gimmick and did a decent job, but it was always kind of a little bit at times kind of silly, or it just was not working the way it needed to. But I really felt like Shane Taylor, you buy it, you believe it, right? Uh-huh. And I think it also did help a little bit that, Caprice Coleman had this discussion with him. You got a little bit more information that way, too.
Right.
But I'm really enjoying this Shane Taylor Hitman thing. I think it fits, it works, and it is believable. You really feel like this guy is really into what he's doing. So I think this is good, and it's a good addition here. And I love that interaction between him and, of course, the SoCal team. It was good stuff.
Absolutely. We then cut to a promo with Kenny King, who talks about how he hasn't had his head on a swivel because Silas keeps finding ways to one-up him, whether it's a beer bottle to the face or adding Brian Malonis to their group. And, of course, he makes a lot of fat jokes in relation to Brian and the Beer City Bruiser, which is sort of whatever. But, not bad work from Kenny here, all things considered.
Just the fat shaming thing. Come on, man. What's up with that? I mean, can't all be
people. Kenny King is.
Yeah, I'm not. No, you're not. I'm definitely not. No, I'm not saying that. I mean, I'm just saying that Kenny King, tish, tish. Is that what they say? No, I'm kidding. No, I mean that's what you do when you cut a promo. You make fun of people. You give them a hard time. Hey, Kenny King's doing what he's supposed to do. I think this is fine. I mean, you need to make him relevant, right? He's got to still be around, and you're not going to have him wrestle on this show. So I think this is something that was needed, and didn't have to be very long. I think it worked out the way it needed to.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. It's just a nice little thing. Keep that feud going. Let you know he hasn't forgotten anything. All that great stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, Josh Woods takes on Jonathan Gresham, one-on-one. This is sort of a bit of a grudge match. These guys wrestled each other on the pre-show, a final battle where Gresham ended up winning, and Woods believed it to be sort of a fluke. So that's why you're getting that here. And commentary does a beautiful job of this as well. They bring up Gresham's interview on Coleman's Pulpit. They talk about the pure wrestling and pure title that they had back in the mid-2000s. Bring up some of the guys who are more synonymous with it. I really, really like that. And it's good to know I'm not nuts that's what I thought they were talking about either. So Gresham ends up winning this after assaulting his right knee. Ends up then making him dizzy with a whole bunch of spins and turns that eventually leads into this bridging pin that he's starting to use. I tell you what, Gresham is just such a joy to watch. For everything he does. He's really great at the grappling game, but he sells, I think, much better than a lot of other people in wrestling, at least across all the products that we watch do right now. He eats a knee in this that is just absolutely disgusting. Leaping off the middle rope, and Woods just clocks him and looks like he's about to die. It's awesome.
Yeah, it really is, and I agree with you. I think that Jonathan Gresham is one of those guys that really, really deserves every bit of praise he gets. Mm-hmm. I think so much of this guy. Once again, a reason why I really don't see the significance or the need to give him a special title or anything like that. I get maybe why, and maybe it does do him more of a service, especially if they're not planning on putting him in a major heavyweight title match in the near future. Maybe you find a way. Of course, I think the TV title is what it's used for too, right? So, I don't want them playing special things for him, but at the same point, if it's going to get him over, it's going to get him some, movement in the direction of being more successful, I'll be okay with it. I love every bit of it, and I liked this match. I think this match had some great moments in it, like you said. You just really just enjoy every single match he's in, and this is just another one of them. I think Gresham is one of the probably the guys that I like to watch most, especially when it comes to technical wrestling. So I want to see more of him, and I think it's definitely a good thing when he's getting victories, even if it is over Josh Woods.
Yeah, I agree. I agree completely. So we move on. Coleman's Pulpit with Coast to Coast. And Caprice is basically doing what he usually does here. He's trying to drive a wedge in between the two teammates here who are still awaiting to find out who their opponents are going to be for their big we win this match or we split up deal that they have going on. And after trying to be that guy, basically being himself, being the guy that poked the bear a little bit, Coast to Coast get a little upset. He's like, hey, well, I know who you guys are going to be facing in this match. And, I'm willing to tell you if you guys want to know. And they go, of course we want to know. And it turns out it's War Machine. So it's nice knowing you guys.
You may want to go ahead and plan your singles careers accordingly. Go ahead and do that. And, thanks for coming and joining the tag team division. Exactly. See you next round. I think I really like this for the fact that we have these two guys sitting down, talking about that they are really our friends and they love each other and they respect each other, and kind of giving you more details on why they even made that decision. This is not like they've just all of a sudden hated each other overnight, right? They still respect each other. They still have a lot of affinity for each other. They just want to do what's right. And so they feel they've got to do that, and they've got to hold the fire underneath their own feet. So they're doing it this way. So all this makes sense. All this is great, and Caprice Coleman is the perfect foe to get involved and to really push the buttons that need to be pushed, right?
Exactly.
I think overall it was a very successful Caprice pulpit, and I think that we got what we needed out of it. And then that information about War Machine just seals the deal for you, because you better be looking for these guys to have a nice little singles career.
Right. In their promo in front of the crowd at the last set of tapings where they did this, they didn't really seem all that comfortable. And this is sort of night and day. Obviously, this is pre-taped, so and they're backstage, so they don't have a crowd watching them. But they looked much more comfortable. I thought Shaheem Ali really shined in this, even though he's doing most of the talking. But his personality and all that, I think, really sort of shines through. Really made it easy to like him. And all that great stuff. So I thought I should mention that I thought he was great in this segment too.
Yeah, for sure. And it's one of those things that you don't really expect to get much out of. And sometimes the pulpit is not. It's really just this kind of silly. But no, but actually, I feel like you got something definitely important here. So good stuff.
Absolutely. And then of course, talking about important, here comes Cody, who's going to speak for the first time since he lost the championship. And he says, a final battle, my hubris might have gotten the best of me. I did all these things to Dalton, trying to strip away the glitz and the boys and all this other stuff just to leave a simple man for me to beat. But he turned out to be the better man at Final Battle. I have a rematch, however, Dalton, so don't really think we're done yet. And I will come for that championship whenever I deem to. But in the meantime, I still have the official ring of honor. And, of course, he's talking about the big gaudy ring around his finger. But here comes the kingdom. Here comes Matt Taven. Taven says, you're trying to make me feel bad for you, but I don't. You've been handed everything, Cody. You took the easy way out upon getting the Ring of Honor by joining the Bullet Club. You've had all these things handed to you time and time again. Meanwhile, Ring of Honor keeps looking down on me, keeps overlooking me. All these other things, and it's enough, and he just starts running Cody down and all this other stuff. Cody finally fires back and says that his blonde hair at Final Battle got more of a pop than Matt Taven ever will, which had me rolling.
Yes.
And demands that Matt Taven kiss the ring, and Taven surprisingly does, only to shortly follow it up by kicking Cody square in the nuts.
Oh boy, this was great.
Yes.
I have to say, and you got a guy in Cody, he's going to come out and he's going to cut a great promo. He's going to sell himself very well. And then you have Taven show up and you're like, what is this about? And like I told you earlier, Taven makes himself feel important.
Yep.
And he really does. You don't think of this guy just coming in as he's a tag team wrestler, or he's just a leader of a faction, just coming and just kind of. No, you don't even. I honestly don't even think about the rest of the kingdom. I just don't. I think of Matt Taven by himself, about what he's doing. Everything he says is right there. That makes common sense. It's really in your face. And I just think these guys complement each other so very well. So they're both heels. It's going to be kind of funny to see how they work that thing out. It's kind of funny that Cody becomes a little bit of the babyface here by getting kicked in the nuts. So interesting. Very interesting. I want to know more.
That's how the Bullet Club sort of runs in Ring of Honor. Until when they're battling faces, they are certainly the heels. But when it comes time for them to fight a heel, they are the face just because the crowd loves them that much. So I agree. This segment is great. Taven, since they really started bringing this whole conspiracy thing into focus and sort of letting him be this super pissed off character, is a very sympathetic heel. So I don't know necessarily how much I want to boo this guy, because I want to see Taven succeed. Despite being a very sort of flat and boring guy for so long, he's really found his way in the last couple of years or so, and I think him and Cody are going to have some great, not only in the ring, but just as far as segments go. If you can stand out in segments in Ring of Honor, I really feel like you got something, just because it's not something they always put a lot of attention on, so hope we get more of this going forward.
Me too. I'm really, really hoping so, and I think that this is going to be a really fun part of Ring of Honor every week, or whenever they air it, and whenever they have them on. It doesn't matter. All that matters is having those two guys interact. It's going to be a blast.
Mm-hmm. We get a quick video package for Punishment Martinez, where he believes himself to be an executioner. He, of course, won Survival of the Fittest last year. He has a world title shot coming up somewhere down the line. We just don't know when yet. And that leads us to our main event. Dragon Lee and Titan taking on the Young Bucks and the Best Friends in a three-way tag match. And this is exactly what you expect. It's high-flying flippies and crazy spots and just a real good time. And, of course, Chucky T during the entrance takes a streamer to the face and dies. Literally just falls down and dies. It's terrific.
Yeah, you would have thought he got shot with a pistol or something. It's awesome. It's just great.
Going down to the finish too, Dragon Lee leaps over the top rope to do his Hurricane Rana deal. Nick, however, just drops him in a powerbomb on the apron. That is absolutely disgusting. I swear to God, if you go find this match and see that, you're going to cringe a lot, like I did. Young Bucks end up winning it after that with the Meltzer drive on Titan. So, the Young Bucks, this is their kind of match. Best Friends look awesome in this too. They're going to be ROH Tag Team Champions somewhere down the line. I just feel it in my bones. And Dragon Lee and Titan, honest to God, look like they could have won this a couple of times. So, I think hats off to everybody for a great match here.
I agree. And, it's one of those matches where it's just a lot of fun, lots of different great spots, and, really with the guys that they have involved, are you surprised? No, not really. I mean, my goodness, all these guys are just super talented. So I think it was a great main event. I think it gave you something to really, sink your teeth into, and it didn't have to be super serious or anything. And you still get all the athletic stuff you want. You still get all the other cool stuff. So really happy with it. And I think it was a great main event.
Yeah, I agree entirely. And in the post-match here to send us home, you have SoCal Uncensored jump out and attack the Young Bucks until Hangman Page runs in to run everybody off, and we go to the copyright screen. So the 6-man tag team title feud still alive and well between all these guys, and we'll just have to wait and see what's going to go down on Ring of Honor next week, Gary.
Yeah, I'm really, really looking forward to seeing where they take us next, and Ring of Honor will be a lot of fun next week, I'm sure, to talk about. But yeah, that pretty much wraps up this show for tonight. We appreciate all of you that have joined us. We've had a lot of fun, lots of great discussions to be had on, of course, our next episode, which will be this coming Friday morning. You're not going to want to miss that because we are going to be having more great wrestling news for you guys. Plus, we'll be talking a little bit more extensively about Impact Wrestling because we missed last week. So we may touch on a few things that happened on the past episode and, of course, dive into the regular episode that'll be coming this Thursday. And then, of course, we'll be giving you not just one Superstar of the Week. We'll actually be giving you this past week's Superstar of the Week as well. So you've got a double dose of Superstar of the Week to look forward to. And a lot of other great stuff, I'm sure, coming your way. Trust me.
We have triple previews going on because you got NXT TakeOver, Rumble, and the New Japan Sapporo shows as well.
Yeah, so we've got a packed show. A really fun one, and trust me, it's going to be chock full of greatness. So we're looking forward to that. And, of course, hey, there's all the great things to look forward to. If you haven't already listened to it, please go listen to it now. Go listen to that Raw 25 episode we just did. It is so much fun. We kind of go throughout the entire show, talk about what we liked, what we didn't like. Go check it out if you haven't already. And, hey, go check out all those other great shows that are on the W2M network. We have plenty of them. You don't want to miss a minute of the action over there. The way you go do that is you go subscribe wherever you get your podcast from, the W2M network. Type it in, put it in, hit that subscribe button, rate and review. And hey, if you just want us, same way. Wrestling to the Max, subscribe button, rate and review, and there you go. You get all our great content in one nice place, and you don't ever miss an episode. And hey, make sure you give some love to 411mania.com and lastwordonprowrestling.com. They got some great wrestling content too. Lots of great articles, other things that you're going to be wanting to read up and look at. So please go check them out. They support us. Let's go support them. So there you go, guys, with all that. We cannot wait to get back with you guys. But until we do the next time, we just want you guys to know, if you're not living life to the max,
you're not living life at all.
You know it.
Peace.
The previous podcast is a W2Mnet.com original podcast. For more great content like this, go to W2Mnet.com for the worlds of wrestling, video games, entertainment, and sports.